Who should win the Royal Rumble? I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling podcast. As always, let's cheers. Talk about some wrestling, huh?
Yeah, the last few Rumbles, last couple, I should say, you kind of knew who was winning, at least the male side. I would say Bayley at least as well. We kind of figured, or she was the favorite to win the Rumble as well. So it's like, well, let's look ahead at this year. This year's kind of unpredictable, at least from the male side of things, I would say. You could make some arguments for some of the females as well. So let's just give our thoughts on it.
The Royal Rumble is one of the most fun forms of wrestling ever. Even if
unless you went to the one we went to.
Unless you went to the one we went to. It was awful. Brock Lesnar and Ronda Rousey. Oh, Jesus. Anyway, we have a bunch of stuff to talk about, but let's talk about the champions first. Let's talk about the champions first. At Royal Rumble, should any of these champions lose? Are there any current champions? Cody Rhodes, Gunther, Tiffany Stratton, and Rhea Ripley. Are there any champions that you see losing at Royal Rumble? Normally, the champion at Rumble goes to Mania. That's just kind of how it's been over the past few years. So, any of these champions losing at Royal Rumble?
No, I don't see it. We keep in the, we're in the Triple H era, and we've kind of figured out that he likes those long title reigns. Well, with those long title reigns, Rhea just got it. Tiffany just got it as well. I don't see either of them losing it. Cody Rhodes, storyline-wise, I guess you could kind of make an argument for it, that it would kind of make sense, and maybe he could get it back at like a Elimination Chamber, and then he has the title before he goes into Mania. It's Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes is not losing that until maybe Mania. Gunther, same thing as well. Gunther, super long title reigns. I would say that maybe you could make an argument for him, but right now he doesn't even have a challenger as of that we're recording this right now. So you look at it and it's like, well, by the time you do the math, you got like 3 weeks, and that just doesn't feel like it's going to be a big enough buildup for me personally. Like, who does he face? Okay, he throws down the gauntlet. Okay, does he accept? That's another week. Oh, well, then they got maybe a pull apart, and it just feels rushed. So for me, short answer is no.
At Royal Rumble, probably not. But if we're talking about just champions who go into Rumble and go into WrestleMania, are they going to be the same? I do think Gunther is not going to walk into WrestleMania as a champion, but I don't think he's going to lose it at Rumble. Like you said, we ain't got much time, and Gunther deserves a legitimate story to get that belt off of him. He doesn't deserve just a 3-week, 2-week build-up where we get shocked and he loses it. In terms of everybody else, Cody's Cody, like you said. Cody's Cody. Do we need to talk about that? He's Cody Rhodes. He's going to walk into WrestleMania, probably main event one of the nights as champion against somebody. I really don't know.
Probably night two.
He's probably going to do the big one. Tiffany Stratton just got it. I would be livid if they took it off her. That would just be crazy. And then, of course, Rhea Ripley. She may carry it to 42, so she ain't losing at Royal Rumble. So in terms of champions losing at Rumble, I just don't see it. So we got 2 big old Royal Rumble matches here, 2 big ones. It's good time. Yep. I love that we have a women's Royal Rumble. It's been good for the past 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. I don't know how long they've been going, but it's a fun time. But we got 2 champions now. We got Tiffany Stratton and we got Rhea Ripley going into WrestleMania, assumedly. Let's talk about some of the people who might win the Royal Rumble, the women. Let's just kick it off real quick. Liv Morgan. Liv Morgan. She ain't got much to do now. She hasn't got a belt to travel with and put in her suitcase. Assumingly, she will be going in the Royal Rumble match unless they do a rehash and she fights Rhea Ripley again. I'm going to assume she goes into the Royal Rumble. Should Liv Morgan win the Royal Rumble?
I'm going to go ahead and say no, even though this one, realistically, you can make an argument that, yeah, she should, and you could rehash that at Mania, which I think we all would be very disappointed in. Or she could just go ahead and take Tiffany on. There's that as well, which could be interesting. I think that Liv, she did a great job holding that title, in my opinion, for what she was kind of given. Kind of still underwhelming, but she did the best she could with kind of what she was given. I think a lot of people are kind of just lived out in terms of the main title scene right now. So just give her a chance to do something else right now is kind of my thought process. Sure as hell don't want her going against Rhea Ripley. So you kind of put yourself in a corner like her versus Tiffany. yeah, that could be great, but also at the same time, that doesn't have the same oomph to me for a Mania match. Maybe if that was like a BPLE, sure, sign me up, but not a Mania match.
Yeah. I don't want Liv Morgan to win the Royal Rumble. I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it, but if she wins the Rumble, they are going to for sure rehash the Rhea Ripley Liv Morgan story. She will not be going to take on Tiffany. And I just think, no, I'm done with the story. Let's not do it. Now, I think that if they want Liv in the main event of WrestleMania and you do want to do the Liv Morgan Rhea Ripley stuff again, wait till Chamber. Give them time. Give us some time to stir the pot on Raw, other stories, make us forget about Liv Morgan, Rhea Ripley for a while. So don't give her the Royal Rumble. If you do find her back into the main event scene, let's have her win Chamber a few months later and then do it that way. Let's just stop Liv Rhea for a bit.
Even
okay?
that.
Give us a break.
Thinking about Mania plans for Liv, I don't know what those plans are.
Yeah.
And that was maybe the biggest question for me after she lost on Netflix to Rhea. I thought, well, where does she go from here?
Yeah.
And I don't have a solid answer for that.
No one does. No one really does. Now, I think a lot of people were talking about this person or have been talking about this person to win the Royal Rumble. And I want to know how we feel about it. Io Sky. Io Sky. She's had a phenomenal year. She's a previous champion. She's one of the best in-ring women that WWE has or that wrestling has in general. Should she be given the shot? Should she win the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, it's an interesting thought because you could argue yes, because Io is absolutely fantastic and she deserves it and she can put on a 5-star match with anybody. You could also argue at the same time, I don't know if they've done enough character development wise with Io to really give her that kind of push. But at the same time, this is going to be my pick for the Rumble. I think that WWE has kind of maybe hinted at it multiple times. And I don't want to say they're taking the easy way out, but you could pencil her in with Rhea, and that's going to be amazing. That's going to be fantastic. That really brings, packs a punch for WrestleMania. You could have her win the Rumble, and then you could kind of start building that up a little bit. So you do have some time there to at least build her up if somebody says, oh, well, they haven't done that.
I find myself wanting Io to win the Rumble, but then I also talk myself out of it pretty quickly. Like match quality wise, Rhea versus Io. I mean, hell yeah, give me that. Give me Io versus Tiffany. That match would be incredible, right? I just think that character wise, I don't know if she can really do a WrestleMania big time championship build up in terms of with Rhea Ripley. I don't know how that's going to work because admittedly, in my opinion, I thought Liv carried a lot of the promo and on mic part of the rivalry with Rhea. Like Rhea kind of just comes out and does the whole mommy stays on top type thing.
Rhea Bloody Ripley.
That's kind of what she does, which is fine. It works for her character. But like when that's the character, you're asking a lot of the other person to carry on the mic. And I don't know if Io can really do that for such a big event, a WrestleMania, right? So that would be my only drawback on it.
Yeah. And I think it's a fair drawback to have. I mean, they've never really given Io much of a character wise. Their thing is pretty much just like, hey, this is Io Sky. She's pretty freaking fantastic. Watch her when the bell rings. And then you watch her and you're like, oh man, she is pretty fantastic. But that's all they kind of do. So I think if you do give her the Rumble, you at least have some time to build that up. Now, what does that look like for them building her up? I don't know.
Yeah.
That's a big question too.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just thinking about her character, like what they've tried to do with her character, like the tantrum she threw and all that nonsense. Like, I don't know. She's great though, and I wouldn't complain if she won it. We got a couple old heads though, who are kind of in the favorite category. I would say this is like a 30-30-30 split between Io, the next two we talk about, and then like the last 10% can go to like Liv Morgan and others on the list. But we'll talk about the first one. Becky Lynch. Obviously she retired, but showed up in the Netflix ad a few weeks ago. So I don't think she's very retired, or if she is, hopefully she knows that WWE is using her content. Becky Lynch is assumingly coming back, maybe prior to Rumble, but probably Rumble now that she didn't show up on Raw to Netflix. Should Becky Lynch win the Royal Rumble here? Should she be the one to take on Rhea?
No, I don't think so. Not at all. There hasn't been enough stock in this for me to be like, yeah. There are reports that she's definitely under contract now with WWE, and there was also reports that she was supposed to somehow interfere or show up during that Liv Rhea match, and they pushed that for The Undertaker. So do with that what you will. Think about that however you want to. But Becky, for me, it would seem weird for her to just come back and randomly win the Rumble, and then just be like, yeah, I'm going to go to WrestleMania. I'm going to main event. And I'd be like, like to me, Becky's kind of had her shine. I think it's time for maybe somebody else to do that. And there's other stuff I'd maybe have Becky do. At the time that we're recording this, Valkyria and Dakota Kai tonight for the women's IC title. I think Valkyria gets that win. I think maybe you could potentially have Becky come back, and maybe that's the first feud she has, something like that.
Would absolutely love that. That should be the play. She should not win the Rumble. If Becky Lynch is doing anything at Mania, I think that you're completely right. I think that a friendly rivalry between Lyra Valkyria and Becky Lynch would be absolutely phenomenal. The match would be great, and it would kind of be the torch passing of kind of that character that Becky plays and that Lyra is probably going to one day kind of follow a little bit. Obviously, Becky has a lot more years left. It's not done. But I don't think that I wouldn't be interested in Becky Rhea. I honestly wouldn't. Becky Tiff could be fun. But I'm with you. I just think it's something else.
It just doesn't hit.
No.
It doesn't give me that feeling.
It doesn't. I love the man, but her time ain't now when it comes to Royal Rumble victories. But this is my personal pick for the Rumble. If I had a bet on it, I'd probably say it's not happening, but my dream feud for WrestleMania
Zoe Stark.
Yeah, exactly. My dream feud for WrestleMania is Charlotte Flair, Tiffany Stratton. That's my dream feud for WrestleMania. I just think it writes itself. I think it'd be such a great way for WWE to really boost Tiff. If Charlotte were to do the job for her, it would put Tiffany on another stratosphere of character. So if you want to, give Charlotte Flair the Royal Rumble. Should she win it?
Man, I want to just say one of the first videos we did, I put Tiffany versus Charlotte in a WrestleMania main event match. Did? Maybe not main event, but on the WrestleMania card together for the title. I don't think Charlotte should win the Rumble. Now, how do you get there still? I still do think that, Charlotte kind of holds a lot of stock because you have her versus Rhea that happened. It was one of the greatest women's matches of all time. And then you also have Tiffany, who's kind of running SmackDown, or will run SmackDown, I guess, for the foreseeable future. It's kind of Charlotte's show. Charlotte kind of runs the thing around there. I think it's important to maybe have Charlotte come back on SmackDown, maybe not win the Rumble, but I'm thinking definitely win Chamber. I think it's one of the two. If you have her win, or if you have her lose Rumble, you have her winning Chamber. Obviously, if she wins Rumble, she's not going to win Chamber, but it's one of the two.
Here's my argument for Flair. Not only would it be a phenomenal feud with her and Tiffany, I think that there isn't enough build-up for the Raw women's division in general to give anybody a Royal Rumble win. So I think that Raw is the brand that needs more time to stir the pot and build some characters and get somebody in that main title scene come WrestleMania time. So Raw should have the Chamber winner while SmackDown has the Royal Rumble winner. And I just think Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton is a ticket seller. I think it would be perfect. They should do it, and Tiff should win it.
Yeah. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think Charlotte versus Tiff will happen at Mania. I think that Charlotte wins Chamber because you could push back and say that, because Charlotte is so well established, she doesn't need it. She doesn't need as much time. Now, granted, there's a lot of time between now and Chamber. Even now in Rumble, it's a few weeks away, but I think you could establish the character, at least from EO, after she wins the Rumble. Does that make sense?
No, you're right. Yeah,
a lot of time, either way. Either way, whatever way they're going to do, I think those two are probably the odds-on favorite.
I don't want to get too lengthy and just go down the entire women's roster here because we could talk about this stuff all day. But we didn't mention a lot of names like Bianca, Naomi, Nia Jax, Roxanne Perez just dropped that belt. Maybe she should get, she'd come back, fight Tiff. That'd be an awesome way to get her up there. Do you see any others capable of winning the Royal Rumble?
The only one I would say is Bianca. I feel like Bianca's kind of the only one. Now, storyline-wise, does that make really any sense? Not really. I think they're going to continue the who attacked Jade thing, and we're going to keep kind of getting that, maybe some more tag team title defenses, and then eventually whenever Jade comes back, that's obviously going to be the feud. So it's all dependent upon when Jade does come back. I haven't seen anything, so I don't know when she's coming back, but Bianca is just Bianca Belair. So I'm going to give her like a 5 to 10% chance because it's Bianca Belair.
I agree. Out of all the other names, Bianca. Bianca versus Rhea would tear the house down. So maybe one day. Let's move on to the men. A lot of people here. Jesus, man. Woo. I mean, who the hell is going to win this men's Royal Rumble? I mean, we got
Giovanni Vinci.
All right. Thanks for watching our video. Roman Reigns, he's got nothing to do at the moment. He has an Ula Fala and assumedly a cover athlete of 2K25. Should Roman Reigns win the Rumble? Get the trilogy going with Cody Rhodes?
Yeah, as much as Roman Reigns, his stock has kind of risen and he's solidified himself as like a top guy, depending on who you ask, 1 or 2. I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
Roman doesn't need it. Roman has other stuff he can kind of go do. He can be in the match. He can have, I think that's a really good way to kind of maybe progress some other stuff, as we always see throughout the Rumble. But I just don't think it's really Roman's time right now to do anything around that main title scene.
Yeah, I don't think Roman should win the Rumble. Love him. I'd rather him do something against Drew McIntyre, something against maybe Seth Rollins, something like that. Something, a meaningful feud that doesn't have the strap involved WrestleMania and without him being in the main event. I love Roman to death. It's just he's main evented like 7 of them. Let's give somebody else the ball here. And then I don't think that we necessarily need the trilogy yet. I don't think there's enough build up for it. Maybe down at SummerSlam, something like that. I think we'll eventually get the trilogy, but I just don't think you should waste a Royal Rumble to get it again, because it'd be back Royal Rumbles focused around that one rivalry. That's just a bit much.
Yeah, and you've got so many other stars, as you said, or you hinted at. There's so many people that could and kind of deserve that spot. You've got so much time for that trilogy. You could heat that trilogy up 3 years from now, and people are going to be like, yeah, it's the trilogy. Awesome. Cool. Let's get after it.
Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like Stone Cold and The Rock, how the third match was like years down the line. It's like, oh, works for me.
Mm-hmm.
John Cena, he should win the Royal Rumble. We've already talked about that a lot. Yeah, give it to him. That's that, huh?
I'm going to say no. I think
this.
I don't know if this is your pick. Is this your pick?
Yes.
Is this your pick?
I don't care what people say. I want my GOAT to do it.
See, I want John. Let me see. How would I maybe do it? You got John in there. You got CM Punk in there. You got maybe a couple other people that John's really kind of had storied past with. Orton could maybe be in there as well. And Jack Swagger.
That's when Brock Lesnar is going to come back, and we're getting the Brock Lesnar, Randy Orton, John Cena stare down the middle of the ring. We're getting it. I'd put money on it right now.
You could do Orton, Punk, Ray, John. I don't know, Final Four. I don't know, just something like that for everybody to be like, oh man, Cena's got history with all 3 of these guys. Something like that, right? And then I think he gets eliminated, and probably the third person, or maybe even the second person. Maybe Cena eliminates somebody out of the top or last 3, remaining 3, and you're like, man, he's really going to do it. And right as he's sitting there celebrating, or he's got this look of disbelief on his face, boom, he goes toppling over the top rope. Everybody's heart shatters a little bit. Everybody sheds a tear, and everybody's like, damn, it was so close. We were right there.
I don't care how much hate I get. I'm riding the Cena train until I die. This entire year, from January to December, should John Cena win, I don't care what comes after win. It could be Money in the Bank, Women's World Championship. I don't know. Anything. Should John Cena win? My answer is going to be yes before hearing the rest of the sentence. And that's that. Drew McIntyre, MVP for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
He's earned it.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys who you would say has earned the Royal Rumble. Obviously, won it before.
Yeah.
Has he won it twice?
He won it the year in Arizona, right?
He won it the COVID year, right? Didn't he win the COVID year?
I don't remember.
I think he's won it
Sure.
twice.
I feel like he's won it twice, but somebody fact check us. I'm sure somebody will.
We should really know that.
Somebody will be like, you guys are idiots. Watch.
But he's been, he's been going after the bloodline. Cody Rhodes did team with the bloodline, even though we're already kind of hashing that out with Kevin Owens. That could be his way of going after Cody Rhodes. Should Drew McIntyre win it?
Yeah, I think he even hugged Cody and kind of, his debut on SmackDown was kind of like, oh, well, I'm here kind of sort of thing to let him know. I'm going to say no on this one. I think you made a great point. We've kind of talked about it a little bit off camera, some on camera. I think Drew versus Roman is kind of the thing I know I want to see, which is weird because Drew had such a great 2024. Normally you'd be like, yeah, let's build this guy. Well, I shouldn't say build, but let's give this guy the Rumble. He deserves it more than anybody else. He deserves to go on to face somebody for that title, especially after that 5-minute reign or whatever he had. Just not right now for me.
Yeah,
maybe a SummerSlam or Survivor Series next year, something like that, or this year.
I don't say this to disrespect him at all. I just don't think Drew, his character work has been so good that I don't think Drew needs to be involved in titles. His rivalry work with anybody is just incredible. He's able to build meaningful rivalries that include nothing. I mean, they made a freaking wristband feel like a championship. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that you need to waste a Royal Rumble spot on Drew McIntyre to get him a title shot. I think that Drew would do much better, like you said, against Roman in some heated rivalry there, or against any of the other people that he's come into contact with. I just think he's at that point in his career where it's just like everything he touches is gold, and I really don't need him to have gold around his waist. Honestly.
Yeah. The point I would make is we gave Drew McIntyre the Money in the Bank, and obviously he used that right away.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want. It would feel wasted, not as wasted to me as Money in the Bank, but if we gave it to Drew, I feel like it'd be wasted because Drew's one of those legitimate guys that like we've seen people walk out on a Monday or a Friday and say, I want a challenge for that. Give me a shot. I'm going to beat you down. And they're like, okay, yeah, let's do it. Drew can do that anytime, anywhere. And I'll be like, okay.
Yeah. I'm going to pair the next two together because that's just what we do with these two. Seth Rollins and CM Punk. Should either of them win the Royal Rumble?
Seth Rollins, I'm going to go with no. Seth Rollins has not really had the momentum building for me. I think Rollins has been in some really good stuff. But usually at this point, we're, less than a month away from the Rumble now. You look at it and you're usually like, okay, this person's got all the momentum building and this person's going to be who takes it, or this person needs that next little push. Rollins is kind of in that same boat as McIntyre. I think it's everything he touches turns to gold. Like you said, everything's great stuff. I'm going to go no. But I sit here and say that I don't know what Seth Rollins' Mania plans are going to be. And that's maybe I'm sitting here thinking about it and maybe he's kind of the odd man out.
Maybe. I would say one of them, I'm not sure. I want these two to fight at WrestleMania in the main event of night one for a championship, which means obviously both guys can't win the freaking Royal Rumble. But I think that Seth Rollins will find himself in the Rumble while CM Punk will get himself a title match on his own before WrestleMania. So if you're not going to have Cena win it and you're going to have Cody's challenger come maybe through whatever story is going on with KO and whatever follows with that stuff and Drew McIntyre and all of that, you could do Cody's challenger coming from Chamber, and you could give Seth Rollins the Royal Rumble and have him go fight CM Punk if they do end up giving Punk a belt.
Yeah, you think about the time frame. I say Rollins might be the odd man out. I think it's one of two people. I think it's your odd man out in terms of Mania, main event or like a big plan. I think it's either like, because Drew versus Roman, I don't think that's going to be a main event, but I also think that's going to be a huge match. You know what I mean? So I think it's either going to be Rollins is going to miss out or I think Gunther's going to miss out.
Yes.
I think it's one of those two.
Yes, I agree.
I have Gunther. I guess I still think Gunther probably holds it into Mania. I just don't know what his plans are if he doesn't have that title. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I feel like Rollins is kind of more of a Swiss Army knife, and you can kind of put him anywhere.
You're right. I do think that right now it feels like it's either Gunther or Seth Rollins that is going to miss out on a big moment. Mm-hmm. It's going to be one of the two. I think CM Punk is definitely penciled in for his big moment. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
and I think he's penciled in. I think he's going to win the Rumble. That's going to be my pick.
CM Punk.
Mm-hmm, yeah, Punk's going to be my pick. I think last year it was rumored, or maybe they even said that he was supposed to last year, maybe, but then obviously he got hurt and you had to kind of switch, and Cody and all this stuff. I think this year is going to be Punk. I think he finally gets that WrestleMania main event. I think he goes maybe against Gunther. I think we see that Punk Rollins maybe at a later date, maybe a SummerSlam or something. I do agree that it deserves a Mania. I do think that it deserves a title at Mania, a main event at night one. But we just got it Raw on Netflix, and you could tell that wasn't going to be the only one that we get.
Yeah.
For me, it's like one of those two has to get the title by the next time they fight.
Yeah.
And we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So I think that Punk goes ahead and Punk wins the Rumble, and he takes on Gunther at Mania. And then after that, you run the Punk Rollins stuff. Rollins can kind of build his momentum up in the meantime, and boom.
you need a big main event for night 1 of SummerSlam next year.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, because there's 2 nights next year.
Yeah,
right?
that might
this year.
That might be the play. And then of course we have the final boss. We have the Dwayne. I mean, no one knows what The Rock's plans are. No one knows at all. Beginning of the year, Rock came out. He acknowledged Cody with the belt. He tried on the belt, and he said he's going to eventually come for Cody Rhodes. Well, the only way to get to Cody Rhodes right now is to win the Royal Rumble. Mm-hmm. Is The Rock going to come back and win the Royal Rumble?
Yeah, if you'd asked me before Raw on Netflix, I would say yeah, I'm 15% sure. I'd give him a pretty good solid chance here. After Raw on Netflix and after this kind of weird, well, I'm just Dwayne, but then on NXT, don't you forget about the final boss, but I'm here, but I'm Dwayne, but I'm also I'm just confused. Yeah. So more than anything, I'm going to say no, just because I'm so confused that I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how it's going to turn out. I think maybe you get that Rock Cody stuff, but maybe again, it's not Mania.
I'll say it right now. I would hate it. I would absolutely hate it. And the reason I would hate it is because all we've seen of him is the bad blood thing. And then we saw on Raw and Netflix, like you said, just the Dwayne Rock final boss, weird combination promoter guy that hugged Cody Rhodes and was very corporate. Mm-hmm. So it doesn't feel earned. Mm-hmm. If he walks out at Royal Rumble and just like it's rumored him coming out at number 31 or something like that, that would be ridiculous. It would feel I feel like it'd feel like a open hand slap to the wrestling fans' faces. And you'd have a lot of people going, okay, well, Mr. TKO over here is walking in, taking WrestleMania main events. So I just feel like the work hasn't been put in this year for The Rock to give any little bit of an excuse to have him come in and win the Royal Rumble.
Yeah. And I guess the argument could be you really didn't get some of that stuff with The Rock until towards the end, kind of the build up to Mania. It was Rock hit the accelerator and boom, he was off. But that's maybe like you said, people would hate that, right? Yeah. People would hate that.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's what they go for. Maybe that's what they want. But damn it, I know I wouldn't like it.
Don't do it.
It's not, in my opinion, it wouldn't be the right type of heat.
No.
Right?
No.
You'd get heat, don't get me wrong, but it wouldn't be good heat.
Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him in the Rumble. It'd be fun. His music hits.
Maybe he's Final Four. Him, Cena, Orton, and Punk.
Yeah, I mean,
maybe that's
his music hits, and of course, I'm gonna go, oh yeah, it's The Rock. But no, you can't come out here and win. You can't do it.
That's gonna be my final. I'm predicting the Final Four right now.
Do it.
Orton, Punk, Rock, Cena.
Giovanni Vinci, Chad Gable, Otis, and
the Boogeyman,
Santos Escobar. See. Like we did at the others, we talk about other people who we haven't included, but Jey Uso, LA Knight, Solo Sikoa, those type of people. And any chance for any of them? Would you like to see any of them get a Rumble shot?
No, I think it's kind of too early for Solo. Somebody like a Solo.
Yeah.
You could argue maybe a Jacob Fatu because he deserves stuff.
How insane would that be?
You know what I mean? It's just Jacob Fatu. So if he went out there and won the Rumble, I'd be like, yeah, he's a badass,
Jacob Fatu pointing to the Mania sign would be so...
He's Solo.
That'd be nuts. He wins the Rumble and gives it to Solo.
Boom.
Okay, that actually sounds awesome. Awesome.
The only person I'm going to say that you didn't even... I don't think you mentioned it.
No.
I'm going to say Randy Orton is maybe a 5%, just because he's got the history with Gunther, Punk, if Punk wins, or Rollins. And then he's also obviously got Cody on the other side of things.
Yeah, we keep forgetting about that.
That's there. But again, you said SummerSlam for a big night 1. You need a big night 2, maybe.
No.
Maybe that's where you get something like that. That's another thing where he's been off TV for so long. There hasn't been any building blocks to that. He's still got to go through Kevin. So you got a whole bunch of stuff there.
Yeah.
But that would be maybe my only honorable mention.
Good point. I think Randy Orton probably has the best chance out of anybody else, not who we've already named, just because, it's always been pushed by fans. We want to eventually see Cody Randy for that belt. Mm-hmm. So if they do decide to give him a Rumble, I'd give it a good old okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
It'd be fun.
So who do you have winning the Rumble? You have Cena. And who do you have winning Chamber?
Cena.
So you got...
I have Cena winning the Rumble, and then Chamber's completely up in the air. It depends on stories and stuff that need to take place between now and then. For the women, I would say I would do Charlotte Flair wins I would if you have as a betting man, I would bet Charlotte Flair wins Rumble and Liv Morgan does end up winning Chamber and they rehash Rhea Liv at Mania.
So I'll go ahead. I'll give mine then. I got Punk winning the Rumble versus Gunther. For the women, Io Sky versus Rhea. I mean, if you look ahead to Chamber, I've got John Cena winning the Chamber. At this point, it doesn't make much sense. I don't really care. I want to see it. I want to see John Cena and Cody Rhodes at Mania. Super ultimate babyface. Just why not? I don't care. Cody, you do the job. Why not? Cody doesn't care. Just give it to John. Yeah, cool, John. I don't really care. That sounds good to me. And then I have Charlotte winning the Chamber versus Tiffany.
There you go.
The one that I guess before we kind of end the video, like this whole time, the build up to Mania, I thought like, oh, well, whoever's going to get the Rumble is going to challenge Cody. I think we're to a point now that that's not the case.
Yeah, me too.
I think it's flipped.
That's why I don't know my Chamber,
which is for the better.
I think Chamber may end up being just like 3 Bloodline members and 3
Bloodline 2.0 versus OG Bloodline.
Oh Jesus, no! But like
one on,
probably like Jay, Jimmy, Sammy versus Drew, Seth. I don't know. Whatever story arc is going to happen with the Cody stuff, I can't even predict that. I just don't think there's enough solidified story right now to already stamp the ticket on who's going to face Cody in 3 weeks.
Which is crazy to think about, the Cody Mania stuff, because we had all thought, or at least I had thought that, like, oh, well, you could pencil in versus this person or this person at Mania, and now it's like, well, now that's so up in the air, I have no idea.
Rumble may actually be fun this year.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let us know in the comments what you guys think about who's going to win the Royal Rumble. We got some time and some good stuff going on before then, like Saturday Night Main Event. So that may change everybody's opinion.
That's also a big wrench in the plans, too.
What the hell? But we'd like to hear your guys' comments, so go ahead and do that and comment on all of our other stuff. And follow us on all of our socials at COD WrestlePod, COD WrestlePod. Come watch our live streams Monday and Fridays. We watch along on YouTube to Raw and to SmackDown. We love seeing you guys in there commenting on our stuff. It's a lot of fun. Thank you guys for doing it. Listen to our podcast on all of YouTube, Apple, Spotify, etc., wherever you get your podcasts. And then obviously come talk to us. We have a link tree in our bio. That link tree has all of our socials and stuff. Go follow all of it. Talk to us. We have fun. I'm just going to keep on saying it. Please follow.
Please.
I was in Germany. All right, it takes me a while to get back into the swing of things. I'm Will. That's Brandon. We're the Cousins of Destruction Wrestling Podcast. We will see you next time.